Varsity Voice is back here on Facebook Live. I'm your host, Ari Bluestein. Thank you for joining us. We are looking forward to a great season. We're going to talk football, and we're going to talk some field hockey today. Next on Varsity Voice, presented by SFBN. Talking about one final thought. Let's get a big, bold prediction. Hello and welcome in here on this Wednesday night here on Facebook Live. Varsity Voice presented by SFBN. I'm your host, Ari Bluestein, and joining me is one of our guests from the last few seasons of Varsity Voice when we were on the Comcast Network and Comcast Sportsnet, Aaron Ace Carter of the Philadelphia Inquirer. Ace, welcome back for another season.
Always good to be back, man.
So you cover city football, as we know, Public League, Catholic League, Interact. Let's start in the pub here. Now, everybody knows Imhotep, obviously, they were one of the best teams, not only in the area, but in the state. But they played Northeast, and the Vikings kind of gave them a little bit of a tough game, even though it ended up being a 20-point victory.
Yeah, a little bit of a different Imhotep team this season. First-year coach Nick Lincoln has a different squad, but they're still strong, they're still talented. They got off to such a great start. Yusef Terry catches a 55, 60-yard touchdown pass on the first play from scrimmage, and so you get the idea that Imhotep's going to run away with this thing. But there was a little bit of complacency, I think, and I know that Coach Lincoln wasn't happy with his team's execution in the second half. There were a lot of penalties, a lot of unforced errors in that game. And the interesting thing about Northeast was if they could muster something up offensively, anything at all, they could have gotten in that game. We're talking about a 12-6 game in the third quarter that turns into a blowout. But that game was up for grabs for a good portion of that game.
You know, it's interesting you say Imhotep may be a little bit complacent here, but maybe it was Northeast defense. You were at the game. What do you think was a little bit of both? Like, how do you think Northeast maybe compares to Imhotep, and that 12-6 score, is that indicative of how the Vikings are?
So what I would say is it's always a little bit of both.
Right.
So Northeast, their defense played well. They forced Imhotep into a little bit of, and there's some of those penalties. It was a physical game, and I think some of those penalties that Imhotep had, some were deserved, some weren't. There's a little bit of after the whistle stuff going on.
Right.
But, you know, it was a good game. It was a good hard-nosed game. I think Northeast, again, like I said, if they can muster something on offense, I know Phil Gormley loves to run the ball. If they can get something going offensively, I think they can be a handful in the pub.
Yeah, and they have a pretty big game coming up. You've got the Simon Gratz Bulldogs coming up. That's on September 29th at the Gratz Super Site. But Gratz is always strong. But I would say, you know, after Imhotep, probably Gratz and Northeast are the next two best teams.
Yeah, I got a chance to see Gratz when they played Germantown Academy, and they absolutely just had their way. Amir Gillis, senior quarterback, who's also going to go to Temple. He's probably going to play safety at Temple.
Okay.
But I'll tell you this, he's a heck of a quarterback. He did absolutely whatever he wanted, dissected Germantown Academy. Over 300 yards passing, I think 4 or 5 touchdown passes, and also mixed in an interception to boot. So he's a handful. And another guy, Nasir Jones, for them linebacker, I love the way he plays. He's aggressive, he'll hit, he's got speed, and he's really a leader for that team. This Gratz team is for real, and they're going to give a lot of teams trouble in the pub.
Yeah, I think it'll be really interesting to see what happens on September 29th at the Gratz Super Site, Northeast and Gratz. There's a couple other teams in the pub that are making noise. We're going to get into them a little bit later in the program, but I kind of wanted to change gears a little bit here, go into a nice little Interact PCL matchup that we had over the weekend. Malvern Prep and LaSalle College High School. And, you know, LaSalle, always a strong team, hasn't been as strong as St. Joe's Prep over the last couple of years. Malvern Prep, always a good team in the Interact. But I thought LaSalle was the favorite, but a little surprising at the final score, actually.
So coming into this game, I'm recognizing that Isaiah Jones, a starting quarterback, senior for LaSalle, is going to be injured, probably not going to play in that game. So you come in thinking Malvern has a leg up on them. But I go to the game, and Danny Selecki, the backup quarterback who's now the starter for LaSalle, he had an absolutely tremendous game, almost a flawless game. Didn't force anything, hitting open guys, will take off out of the pocket when he had a chance. So much so that he was actually my player of the week this week. So he had a heck of a game. Talked to him a little bit about it. Interesting story about him. His grandfather also went to LaSalle 60 years ago, also in week 3. Came in off the bench, was a backup, came in against Cardinal Doherty, led them to a victory. So a little bit of interesting symmetry there. Read my story in Philly.com and pick up a newspaper, and you can find the details.
Shameless plug of the day.
Oh, absolutely. We do what we do. But this LaSalle team, the defense was also really strong, and I was surprised that they gave Malvern and O'Shawn Allison, so many issues. O'Shawn going to Ohio, dynamic runner, really was held in check for most of that game until he broke a long one, about 57 yards in the fourth quarter, when the game was pretty much out of reach. So defensively, LaSalle was tough. Offensively, they're tough. Selecki, I think, is he has like a calming demeanor too to that team. And Troy Holland, a senior wide receiver for LaSalle, was spectacular in that game. 7 catches for $144, 2 touchdowns. I was surprised that he gave Malvern's secondary as many problems as he did. Because that secondary is tough. But this LaSalle team is for real. Yeah,
I think they definitely are for real. They've shown, they lost to a tough McDonough team in Maryland, but I think they're going to be right there with St. Joe's Prep. And the Prep has a big matchup with Archbishop Wood. We're going to get into that a little bit later. That's coming up this Friday night when we get into some of the games coming up this coming weekend. And Malvern Prep, I think they're still going to be there in the Interac. We'll monitor the Interac all year long. But as we said, Ace, you cover the pub, PCL, Interac. We know that Imhotep, LaSalle, Wood, St. Joe's Prep, we've talked about all these teams. We know they'll be there. Any teams maybe a little bit surprising that they've done pretty well early on in this 2017 season?
I'm glad you asked that, and I think the team for me anyway is Bishop McDevitt. Okay. They started off the season 3-0 for the first time in a long time. But that team, one guy in particular stands out, John Luke Peekers, a freshman, little guy, 5'6", $160, but he's jet quick. He's rushed for over 100 yards in each of their 3 wins. So I think that's a team that has the potential to be a dynamic offense. They'll be tested, I think, for the first time this week against O'Hara. I'll be at that game. BJ Butch Hogan for O'Hara, their coach, was one of my co-coaches of the year alongside Gabe Infante, St. Joe's Prep. He lost some talent up front with big guys, but he's got Justin Santilla, a senior cornerback and wide receiver. They're going to get the ball in his hands as many ways as they possibly can. So I think O'Hara and this McDevitt matchup is going to be a good test for both teams. Yeah,
I certainly agree, and I like to see how maybe the mid-tier, low-tier of the PCL works out, especially for the lower classifications. Even a team like West Catholic and Newman Goretti now with the new head coach, Lansdale Catholic, those guys. I definitely like to watch those
Real
teams.
Quick, let me clean up in aisle 6 here. It was Nasir Nixon for Gratz.
Oh, okay.
He's a senior linebacker. Tough kid. Sorry, Nasir, if you're out there. Tough kid, hard-nosed, really big hitter. He'll hit anything that moves. He's got quick feet. I think he'll play in college.
Great. Our errors and omissions versions of the show here. But Ace will be back. We're going to take a quick time out. We're going to get into some of the games coming up this weekend that we're really looking forward to. But when we return, we're going to step out of football and we're going to go into field hockey a little bit with some special guests from Merion Mercy Academy. Next on Varsity Voice, presented by SFBN.
Hi, I'm Tommy Green, former pitcher for the Philadelphia Phillies. When I was in high school, it was very important to me to show scouts what I could do. My friends at Payroll Service Solutions are huge supporters of high school sports and the Sports Fan Base Network. If you're a small to medium-sized business in need of a payroll company, contact Payroll Service Solutions. Not only will they take care of you, they will continue to support the community. For more information, contact Payroll Service Solutions at 215-624-0922 or 866-PAY-EASY.
Bluestein, Michael & Company, certified public accountants, believe that your bottom line is as important to them as it is to you. Why? Because they care about the things that you care about. Whereas most accountants can take your numbers and put them on financial statements and tax returns, Bluestein and Michael work with you through the year to help you solve problems by providing sound professional advice. They enable you to make key business decisions, and they are with you throughout the entire year, not just tax time. Bluestein and Michael are not just hired hands. They are part of your team, and they provide professional service when you need it most. Bluestein and Michael specialize in accounting, tax, and consulting services for small businesses, primarily for the construction industry. If you're looking for yes men, hire someone else. But if you want sound advice from service-oriented CPAs, then you'll want to call Bluestein and Michael at 215-635-3200. That's Bluestein and Michael at 215-635-3200.
pain-free physical therapy. At PTW, we know that sometimes physical therapy can be tough and painful, so we do whatever we can to get you feeling pain-free again. Each one of our centers is equipped with an Alter-G anti-gravity treadmill or warm water therapy pool to unload your aching joints. From pre- and post-surgery rehab, fitness programs, and work injury rehab, PTW is your go-to therapy provider. Call or visit us online to schedule your PTW visit today.
Hi, I'm Marty Bystrom, former pitcher for the Philadelphia Phillies. In my experience in Major League Baseball, I know how important it is for high school athletes to gain exposure. My friends at Payroll Service Solutions are huge supporters of high school sports and the Sports Fan Base Network. If you are a small to medium-sized business in need of a payroll company, contact Payroll Service Solutions. Not only will they take care of you, they will continue to support the community. For more information, contact Payroll Service Solutions at 215-624-0922 or 866-PAY-EASY.
Welcome back to Varsity Voice presented by SFBN here on Facebook Live. And now we're stepping out of football and going into field hockey. We're giving some field hockey some love. This segment is brought to you by PhilaFieldHockey.com. And I've got some very special guests from Merion Mercy Academy. To my immediate left here is Margo Carlin. And then next to her is Caitlin Farkas. Margo and Caitlin, thanks so much for joining me today. Well, let's talk about your season here. And either of you guys can answer this. Doing pretty good so far, right? I heard 5-0 coming off a victory today. So talk about how your season's going so far.
So far, we're definitely starting off strong. We're really excited to get back into this season, so it's been going good.
And what are some of the other key players? I know you guys are some of the key players. We'll get into where you're going to college in a little bit. But who are some of the other key players that have really been important to your success so far this year?
We have great forwards. Senior Ariana Lavelle. She's really key to our team. She scores, she gets up there, she's a good player.
Okay.
Along with her, we have Emily Howe and Sarah Green. So it's a telling forward line from last year, but they're doing a great job.
Yeah. And I know you guys just beat, was it Agnes Irwin today? I love that. You come right from the game, right here to Varsity Voice. What was the final score of that game? Oh, nice. Intense game. I like it. And Agnes Irwin, a very strong program. So congratulations on that win. I know that, Caitlin, you alluded to last year. You had a great year last year. Made it all the way. Was it the single A or the double A classification? Double A. So double A, PIAA classification, get all the way to the state championship, fall short, one game short. I guess talk about, what it was like just getting there to the state championship and just falling a little bit short.
Getting there was definitely super exciting. School hasn't been there since 2008, so
Wow.
it's been a while, so we were super excited to get there, and I think definitely to lose the state championship game. It was tough. I mean, obviously things didn't go the way we hoped, but it was definitely a good lesson, but it was a good game.
Yeah, and Margo, talk about maybe the state championship run. I mean, you win the first round, you win the second round, quarterfinal, semis. I mean, that must have been just such a great experience for you and your teammates.
Yeah, preseason we had a paper, we set our goals, district championship, which was awesome. And first round of states was actually our highest goal, and it was awesome to make it to the state championship. Unfortunately, a lot of things didn't go our way, but it was tough, but making it back.
Well, yeah, I was just going to ask you that. How hungry you guys to get back? You're starting off 5-0, so you're starting off the right way. So what you set your goals last year to get to the state tournament. So is your goal this year to win the whole thing?
I definitely think we're all pretty hungry. It's definitely all in the back of our minds, every practice, every game. But our coach got always has the mindset of take it one game at a time, so we're really focused on it.
Great stuff. And, I'd imagine that, Caitlin, you'd love to kind of finish off your senior year with a championship. But you're going to Sacred Heart next year. Are you excited about that?
Yeah, I'm super excited. I absolutely love the school, love the program, so I'm definitely excited to get there.
What made you decide to go to Sacred Heart? I'm sure some other schools were looking at you. What made you choose Sacred Heart out of everybody else?
Well, it kind of started, they have a super strong academic program where I went to study exercise science. So that was kind of the initial, how I first started looking there. And then when I visited, I absolutely fell in love. I love the atmosphere, I love the team, so it all just fell in place.
Great stuff. That sounds great. Well, good luck to you next year. Margo, you're a junior but you're already committed to Boston College. I mean, they're only, the number 12 team in the country, something like that. Talk about that process and having the early commitment, I guess, before your junior season.
Yeah, well, I had the opportunity to visit a couple schools, but my freshman year I went to Boston College camp over the summer, and I fell in love. I knew right away that's where I wanted to be. I love the coaches, the players, the campus, and I'm really excited to be there.
And I think I heard you have an alum. Was it somebody that was on the team last year? I think she's doing pretty good for the squad. What was her name? I know she leads in goals, right?
Jamie Natal.
Yeah, not bad. She leads in goals for that squad, right?
She's doing awesome.
That's great. So she's a freshman there and leading the team in goals. Not bad, not bad. What were your positions again? I think, Caitlin, you're the defender, right? And you're center mid.
Yes.
See, I want to learn more about the game of field hockey. I know there's a lot of rules, so we don't have time for all those rules here today on Varsity Voice. I was actually just at a game last night covering the game of the week for PhilaFieldHockey.com. But, I mean, just talk about the game and how you guys kind of maybe fell in love with it and picked this to be, hey, I'm not only just going to play this in high school, but I'm going to play this in college as well. Margo, you can go first if you want.
Well, it actually passed down to my family. My mom played, my sister played, and I started off really young, but I love it. As a center midfield, I really like to pass it to the outside as a distributor, and we go all the way down the end lines.
Nice.
To score.
So same question, Caitlin. What do you love about the game?
I love it. I just think it's so fun. I love the fast pace of it and how competitive it can be and how fun it is to play a super tough team.
Well, I mean, we are really excited to get into field hockey coverage. We've done a little bit, but focused mainly on football and basketball. We've done a little bit of soccer, but we're really excited about our partnership with PhilaFieldHockey.com. So I want to thank everybody at that website. I mean, how great is it to have a website, PhilaFieldHockey.com, that just covers, I know they cover college field hockey too, but I mean, how great is it to have an outlet, that covers just field hockey?
I love it. I think it's a super comprehensive site of all the teams in the area because I think it's pretty cool to be able to follow your friends from other programs and to always see how they're doing.
Yeah, for sure. And Margo, anything to add on that? The coverage
that's really awesome. I follow them on Twitter, so I always get the updates on the scores and everything, and it's really helpful.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, they do a great job on social media, and I check their website all the time now. I'm following field hockey now, so I'm getting into it. But again, Margo Carlin and Caitlin Farkas from Merion Mercy Academy, the defending runners-up, and hopefully champions this year, right at the 2A level. Thanks so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
We're going to take a time out, and when we return, we'll get back into football with Ace Carter next on Varsity Voice, presented by SFBN.
Hi, I'm Tommy Green, former pitcher for the Philadelphia Phillies. When I was in high school, it was very important to me to show scouts what I could do. My friends at Payroll Service Solutions are huge supporters of high school sports and the Sports Fan Base Network. If you're a small to medium-sized business in need of a payroll company, contact Payroll Service Solutions. Not only will they take care of you, they will continue to support the community. For more information, contact Payroll Service Solutions at 215-624-0922 or 866-PAY-EASY.
Bluestein, Michael and Company, certified public accountants, believe that your bottom line is as important to them as it is to you. Why? Because they care about the things that you care about. Whereas most accountants can take your numbers and put them on financial statements and tax returns, Bluestein and Michael work with you through the year to help you solve problems by providing sound professional advice. They enable you to make key business decisions, and they are with you throughout the entire year, not just tax time. Bluestein and Michael are not just hired hands. They are part of your team, and they provide professional service when you need it most. Bluestein and Michael specialize in accounting, tax, and consulting services for small businesses, primarily for the construction industry. If you're looking for yes men, hire someone else. But if you want sound advice from service-oriented CPAs, then you'll want to call Bluestein and Michael at 215-635-3200. That's Bluestein and Michael at 215-635-3200.
get pain-free physical therapy. At PTW, we know that sometimes physical therapy can be tough and painful, so we do whatever we can to get you feeling pain-free again. Each one of our centers is equipped with an Alter-G anti-gravity treadmill or warm water therapy pool to unload your aching joints. From pre- and post-surgery rehab, fitness programs, and work injury rehab, PTW is your go-to therapy provider. Call or visit us online to schedule your PTW visit today.
Hi, I'm Marty Bystrom, former pitcher for the Philadelphia Phillies. In my experience in Major League Baseball, I know how important it is for high school athletes to gain exposure. My friends at Payroll Service Solutions are huge supporters of high school sports and the sports fan-based network. If you are a small to medium-sized business in need of a payroll company, contact Payroll Service Solutions. Not only will they take care of you, they will continue to support the community. For more information, contact Payroll Service Solutions at 215-624-0922 or 866-PAY-EASY.
Welcome back to Varsity Voice, presented by SFBN, here on Facebook Live. Alongside Ace Carter, I'm Ari Bluestein. We welcome Ace back in here. And great field hockey segment, so shout out to, again, PhiladelphiaFieldHockey.com and Merion Mercy Academy. Margo Carlin and Caitlin Farkas, thank you again for joining us. Let's get right back into football here. We've got some big-time matchups coming up this weekend. There seems like there always are big matchups. There's really not much that gets bigger than Archbishop Wood and St. Joe's Prep, probably the top in the whole state in 5A and 6A respectively. What do we got here? What do you like in this matchup?
Well, when we think about this matchup, coming into the season, St. Joe's Prep, the question is, how do you respond after you lose somebody like DeAndre Swift,
right,
who's now at Georgia, giving SEC defenses a handful. But for me, one of the hallmarks of Gabe Infante's teams over the last couple of years have been that it's not just about one guy. Offensively, they're going to spread the ball around. A few years ago when they had Olamide Zacchaeus in the backfield, he and Swift would share carries, and so there wasn't one guy that you could truly try to take away. Now, having said that, last year at the end of the season against North Penn, DeAndre carries it 31 times. The next game in the state championship, he carries it 27 times. So for me, coming into this season for the Prep, the question is, who becomes that safety net, that guy that Infante is going to trust down the stretch? And when you look at that roster, offensively, it's probably going to be Marcus McCray.
Right.
So, a senior quarterback now, and, he's dangerous and throwing it, running it. And so when you have a quarterback like that who's going to touch it every play offensively, that is an easy person to look for stability. And so, and defensively for the Prep, I have it on good authority that this is one of Infante's toughest defenses.
Wow.
And I think when you talk about them, you start with Dawson Dulius. He's a senior, just like his brother Dylan before him, a very sure tackler. Dylan is now playing at Colgate. Dawson is going to go play at Princeton. Those two, sort of the heart and soul of their respective defenses, real good leaders. Like I said, sure tacklers. So defensively for the Prep, I think that this is a dangerous team. Now, looking at Archbishop Wood, I had a chance to see them when they played against Paramus Catholic a few weeks ago.
Right.
It was a rain game. They lost. They got behind. They gave up some big plays defensively. But their offense, Nasir Peoples, is a flat-out stud. He's the kind of back, that's why he's going to Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
He's the kind of back that can score from anywhere on the field anytime he touches it. So that big play capability is important for them. The matchup I look for, Jack Collier, quarterback. I think because Coach Steve Devlin loves to run the ball so much, even when they had Anthony Russo a few years ago, Russo wasn't going to sling it around 25, 30 times. So I think Jack's going to have to make at least 3 or 4 plays during the course of the game where he's going to have to make a play and make something happen.
Yeah.
And he has a receiver, a tight end, to do that in Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, and you look at St. Joe's Prep defense and how strong that is. And you've got Nasir Peoples, a dynamic player. I think that's a key matchup because if the defense can shut down Nasir Peoples, that's going to force Coach Steve Devlin to go to the air and go to Jack Collier. And Collier's a solid quarterback. Although he's going to college for baseball, but he's a solid quarterback. So to me, that looks like it's the matchup. What do you think? You going to make a prediction? You going to put it in the paper? What do you think?
I'm not going to be at that game, so Rick O'Brien will be at that game, my colleague. So follow him on Twitter. He'll have everything for you. If I had to guess, I would go with, I'd say I'd go with the Prep. I think there's a little more experience on that team. Right. But, Wood is a dangerous team. They have talent. They have athletes. So we'll see what happens.
And defending state champions and certainly serious state title contenders this year. All right, so that's certainly a big matchup. That's going to be at Widener University on Friday night. Going back into the pub here, Bartram and Martin Luther King. Now, Martin Luther King, they're always a strong program. Coach Ed Dunn, ever since he's gotten there, they always have strong offensive teams. They always have these speedy receivers on the outside. Bartram, they haven't really been a power. They've got a heck of a quarterback, and they had a really big win against Archbishop Ryan to start the year.
They do. And Coach Dunn at King, one of the hallmarks of his defenses is that they're going to be physical. They're going to be physical, they're going to be fast, but they're going to have their hands full with Mahmoud Diabate, senior quarterback for Bartram. Big, strong, 6'3", about 215, 210 maybe. Older brother Karamo plays at Temple. And so when you grow up in that household and your older brother's like 6'6", 300 pounds, you probably become an elusive quarterback. But Bartram, they have speed on the outside, and they're going to – Coach Jim Chapman has a really fast team, really dynamic athletes. They'll be able to score anytime they touch it from anywhere on the field. So this Bartram team is going to give a lot of teams handful in the public league. Yeah,
I think so. I mean, we talked about Imhotep, Northeast Gratz earlier, but I think Bartram definitely needs to be in that conversation up there in the 5A or 6A classification, and it should be an interesting test for them against Martin Luther King. And we mentioned Bartram beat Ryan 22-21 to start the year. Well, speaking of Ryan, they've got their matchup they circle every year on their calendar. Father Judge. Friday night at Northeast High, 7:30 p.m. It was actually just changed, pushed back a little bit later, but throw the records out the window with these two squads. This Northeast Philly rivalry, Judge versus Ryan, these kids grew up together. I honestly don't think it gets much better than this in the PCL in terms of a football rivalry.
Yeah, it's going to be physical. It's going to be fast. It's going to be ferocious. It's going to be fun. And that's a game that I'll be at. Another shameless plug. I got bills to pay, man. But I'll be there at the game. Follow me on Twitter. But, this is going to be one of those, blood feud rivalry games. And, Ryan, Coach Frank Ricardo has his hands full. He's got a lot of turnover on that team, but they have talent. They'll rely on running the ball. They have some dynamic playmakers on the outside also. Judge just lost a heartbreaker to Germantown Academy in overtime. And so, these two teams, it doesn't matter who's playing. It doesn't matter, that Judge lost Rob King, who was their senior quarterback last season, a big loss for them. They do have Shane Dooley playing quarterback for them. His older brother, Paul, played quarterback at Springside Chestnut Hill and was a heck of a quarterback.
Yeah.
But that doesn't matter. None of it matters. The only thing that matters is these two teams are going to get after it. They plain don't like each other, and we'll see what happens.
And, they play in that division with Wood and the Prep and LaSalle. So wins are not going to come easy, and they're already 1-2, both of these teams. So this is not only a huge rivalry, but it's a big game for the two teams to kind of get to 500 and get to 2-2. So it should be very interesting. I always love this matchup. Again, it's at Northeast High School on Friday night at 7:30. There's a lot of great games going on. And we talked about the Philadelphia Catholic League, but interesting news going out of the games. This was just released today. How about this? Devon Prep will be joining the Philadelphia Catholic League next year. How about that for some breaking news?
Yeah, Devon Prep will be the first edition since Lansdale Catholic 2008-2009, right. And all I can say is welcome. And I look forward to getting to know you guys, getting to know your teams and all that. So welcome.
Coming out of the Bicentennial Athletic League, and Lansdale Catholic, I believe, came out of the Pioneer Athletic Conference. So the PCL doesn't add teams too often, I should say. So yes, welcome Devon Prep to our coverage and to Aces World. But Ace, thanks so much for joining us as always. Always do a great job here with your analysis. And we have a lot of great stuff on SFBN. But before I let you go, Ace, we've got In the Trenches on Monday night. We've got In the Goal, which is a soccer show. Tomorrow night, that's with Jack Cap, Archbishop Ryan head coach Ryan Haney, and Steven Schreiber. So make sure you stay tuned for everything going on here on Facebook Live. And, of course, our Game of the Week. It's two teams that you don't really know a lot about, Penridge and Souderton, but a great Suburban 1 matchup, great rivalry, Penridge at Souderton, 7 p.m. right here on Facebook Live. You can just watch it by going to www.sfbn.live. So, Ace, again, thanks so much for joining me today. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, man.
Well, thank you for watching Varsity Voice. And again, a special thank you to PhilaFieldHockey.com and Merion Mercy Academy's Margo Carlin and Caitlin Farkas. For Aaron Ace Carter, I'm Ari Bluestein. Thank you for watching Varsity Voice presented by SFBN. Have a good night.